Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn and this is so cool. I thought that I would maybe play around with the BetterPress plates that are a part of the Home for the Holidays collection that just came out, and this one's pretty cool. It's called Night and Day Pines, and there's actually two plates in the set. One that does the positive image of pine tree branches, I guess, and one that does the negative. And I'd already pressed out the negative a few times, and I pressed out the positive a few times. But here, what I'm doing is I decided to try these Walnut Ink Sprays and see if I could better press with them. And, I like to experiment if it's not something that's going to potentially ruin the machine. I think it's really fun to just kind of experiment and see what happens. And so the walnut ink sprays are really cool. They're kind of naturally based off of I think it's like the husk or shell of the walnut. And you get a lot of these really very earth tone colors, but they can also get tinted towards, like a bluish hue or a pinkish hue. And a lot of people use walnut crystals from Sukaneko as a way to an alternative to coffee staining, because it then results in something that's more like acid free, a little bit more friendly to being used in scrapbooking, and anything where you just don't want any potential for it to yellow, say, like a photo over time. And so that's, so generally it's got a lot of different applications, but really, really fun to work with. And I don't know what made me think of it, but I just decided I wanted to try it on the BetterPress plates. I think part of the reason is because the pines plate, it's so kind of earthy. It's got the branches, and I ran this through multiple times because I was just really fascinated by the results I was getting. And I'll show you everything. I'll show you all of the results. I didn't film all of them, but basically what I was trying to do as I was experimenting, and you can try other sprays too. I'm not sure that walnut has anything to do, these walnut ink sprays have anything to do with the results. These might work equally well with other types of sprays. This is just what I happen to have. And so the great thing about it, though, is that with this particular design, the reason why I thought this would work really well is because it looks great if you get like a super sharp image and impression. Looks fabulous, really, really awesome. And that's the nice thing about BetterPress plates, because you can get really crisp, well-defined, and fine detail. But with this design, I think it looks pretty good with that sort of watercolor, more soft look as well. So I was playing around with, how heavy do you spray? Because here you can kind of see in the center there, it was a little bit more fuzzy. And I also experimented with, well, let's use these sprays and press onto cardstock versus pressing onto cotton card. Okay, so here's the result. This is the night and the day. So you have the negative, which is on the right, and you have the positive on the left. These both are with Delicata ink, and they are pressed onto my Hammermill cardstock, because I know from previous experimentation that Delicata ink kind of loses its shine. Like, it's supposed to have a lovely shimmer to it, and it sort of loses that when you press onto cotton card. I think partially that might be because of how fibrous cotton card is versus how processed and super smooth the hammer mill card is. So I have 2 more panels that are in the night, so the negative version. So the negative version being, the gap in between the branches. This is with the Delicata in black shimmer, which I thought was kind of interesting, and in gold. So a couple different variations. I love this. I love these negative plates. Every time Spellbinders comes out with one, I think I'm going to need to get it because it's really fabulous. Okay, so now here's my experimentation with the Walnut Ink Sprays. This is Walnut Ink Spray onto cardstock. And you can kind of see, you can get a pretty fine impression, like a pretty fine detail impression, and it looks pretty darn good. This is in, that was in Java. These darker browns are also in Java. So here, see, it's pretty detailed. Oh, this one's actually my Delicata ink I was discovering. That's right, because I tilted it and I saw there was a little bit of a shine to it. So this is Delicata in a brown. And I did that to compare it with the Walnut Ink version. So that's why I did that one. But then look at some of these experimentations. So if you go a little bit more heavy-handed with the spraying, you get these like a more bold, it's not quite as fine, it's more bold, and there you can see it's oversprayed a little bit where you lose all definition, and here too, like the center, a little bit too much and it loses definition, but in some of the areas it's got this really nice, like a really soft watercolor effect, and because it's the pine needles, I feel like it works. I mean, I'm not thinking that the sprays will work for every single type of BetterPress plate, but I feel like for this one turned out, I think, pretty well. This one's eucalyptus, so you can see it's a little bit tinted towards the green. And I did try to get on some of these like an ombre from eucalyptus to the Java brown. I don't know that I was super successful with that, but you saw me as I was experimenting, you saw me kind of blot off with a paper towel, because as I was doing these, I mean, I did a bunch of them, as you can see, and a few more that you didn't, but I was starting to get the sense of being able to recognize like how much was too much. And also the other thing is that what I discovered was some of these spray nozzles, they're just not all equal, because some of them, when you spritz, it's a really nice fine mist, and that's what you want. When it comes out as a stream, a more concentrated stream, that's when I was having issues with it being too watered down in some areas and losing all definition. So that's one of the things, if you want to play around with some of the sprays that you have, try to find a spray that gives you a nice fine mist. And a lot of times it feels a little bit counterintuitive to do this, but a lot of times you will get a finer mist if you actually like depress quickly and fully all the way down. So if you try to go light with it and just do like a little partial spray, like a little half depression, that's when you get more of a stream coming out as opposed to a fine mist. So you might have to experiment a little bit to see what comes out and how to control what comes out of your sprays. But I thought this was a lot of fun. And so I will make 2 cards. I have already completed one. And the sentiment that I'm using is from the Copperplate Holiday collection. There are some really nice, like large, very, very scripty fonts. And I feel like you don't need much more than just these fonts, just these sentiments. So what I'm doing is just doing a positive and a negative version using the pines, the Night and Day Pines background press plate. And I've got a couple of the copper plate sentiments. So one is Merry Christmas and the other one is Joy to the World. So with the Merry Christmas one, I didn't add an additional matte layer for around the sentiment. But with the Joy to the World, since the background is light, because I'm using the positive version of the background on that one, I thought it would be nice to have a nice solid border around the sentiment panel. And so all I did was I took that same green Delicata ink and I swiped the border of a piece of white cardstock. And then this way I'm guaranteed that it's like a perfect match. I don't have to dig around for cardstock that's kind of close enough. I wanted everything to be very monochromatic because I pressed out the sentiment in that same green. So this is all the same Delicata green. And you can see like how lovely, like look how fancy that is. It stands on its own for sure. So I really love the Night and Day too. I mean, you could really make a very nice set of cards with these and still have like a good variety of them. And they're so quick to make. If you sell cards, I feel like this is another really good option if you make and sell holiday cards or you like to make holiday cards as a gift for the holidays to give out during the holidays. You could make so many so quickly with these BetterPress plates and with this set of sentiments. Thanks so much, and until next time, happy crafting and have a fabulous day. Bye!